In a previous video, we talked about the new Panasonic Lumix GH7. And along with that announcement, Panasonic made the surprise announcement that they will be offering ARRI LogC3 recording as a separate upgrade. Now, this comes as a very welcome addition to, as we saw in the previous video, what is already an extremely powerful camera. So LogC3 recording will allow for seamless color matching between ARRI's line of cinema cameras and the GH7. And this is the first time we're seeing something like this outside of their own camera lineup. So super exciting, plenty to talk about here, and I'm really excited to get into it. So one of the biggest advantages this is going to give you is the ability to use ARRI's Look Library. Now, at the time of making this video, the library contains 87 expertly crafted looks, which are all free to download and use. Now, emphasis on expertly crafted, by the way, because ARRI employs some Academy Award-winning colorists to meticulously craft amazing looks for anyone using ARRI's log profiles to use. We'll take a closer look at some of those later on, but first, GH7 users will not only benefit from being able to use these looks, but they'll also be able to use them in conjunction with the real-time LUT feature on the camera. Now, I talked about this feature in my previous video, but if you're not familiar, it allows the user to bake in a LUT on the footage if you want to. You can even mix multiple LUTs together and adjust their opacity to make them truly unique. Now, you don't have to bake in the LUT if you don't want to. In fact, you get the choice of applying the LUT to your proxies and saving the original file without the LUT applied, which is exactly what I'm going to do.
All right, we got our camera all set up here, and I'm going to show you guys how I go into the settings and apply the LUT to our proxy files, but not the original file. To do that, I'm going to hit menu, and in the very first page of the video settings, I will find photo style. I'll click that and scroll over to our real-time LUT option, and then I will go down and turn the LUT off. Now, this is going to turn it off for the original file, and I will hit set, and then I'll go down to our proxy recording settings. And then from there, I will scroll down to real-time LUT proxy, and I'll make sure that this is turned on. All right, now with that set, the LUT is going to be applied to our proxies, but not the original file.
Now, in shooting LogC3 on the GH7, middle grade is going to land on 39 ARRI as opposed to 42 ARRI with Vlog. With LogC3, you'll get more detail in the highlight regions of your image. Additionally, all the exposure and metering tools on the camera take into account which profile you're shooting in and adjust appropriately, including but not limited to the spot meter. Now, it's really important to understand that this is not just a color space transform or a CST. This is an adjustment to the color matrix of the GH7 to make the color coming from the sensor match ARRI's. Panasonic's engineers worked very closely with ARRI's engineers to make this possible. Now, the GH7's dynamic range isn't going to be as high as an ARRI's, and that has primarily to do with the size of the sensor. However, the curve is identical to that of an ARRI at ISO 800. Now, one advantage the GH7 may have is a consistent log curve over its ISO range. This is because Lumix cameras have an analog gain structure, as opposed to ARRI cameras, which are based on a digital gain structure. This will make the GH7 a bit more forgiving in uncontrolled lighting scenarios. Need more exposure? Go ahead and bump up the ISO. You don't need to worry about it affecting your color adjustments in post. Speaking of post, let's get this thing into Resolve and see what we got. Okay guys, we have our footage loaded into DaVinci Resolve, and I'm going to show you guys real quick how to set up a color managed workflow. It is really important when you are shooting ARRI LogC3 to set up a color managed workflow for yourself so that no matter what your output is, whether it's a computer monitor, a television screen, or a projector, that all of the color decisions you make in post are accurately represented in the output. So to do that, we are going to go into our settings here and tab over to color management. And at the very top here, you'll see color space and transforms. This is where we're going to want to set this up. And the color science by default is set to DaVinci YRGB. Now we're going to want to change that to color managed, because we want a color managed workflow here. And again, by default, this is set to automatic color management. Let's go ahead and click that off because we want to make our own decisions here. And scroll down on color processing mode to custom. So we're going to tell DaVinci Resolve here what footage we shot, what color space we want to work in, and what we want the color space output to be. And to do that, I'll click on input color space. Again, this is telling DaVinci which color space we shot in, and that is of course the ARRI LogC3. Next, we're going to address the timeline color space, and sometimes this is referred to as the intermediate color space. And this is just asking us what color space do we want to work in while we're in DaVinci Resolve. I'm going to set this to DaVinci Wide Gamut Intermediate. Last, I'm going to address the output color space, and as you may have guessed, this is asking us what color space is our output. So in my case, it is going to be Rec 709 and Gamma 2.4. So I will set it like that. And there we go. Now we have a color managed workflow for the footage that we shot. So with all that being said, now we can start applying the creative looks. And this is the fun part. So I'm going to go over here to LUTs and scroll down to ARRI Look Library, LogC3, log to log. Now, I'll just mention this really quick because on ARRI's website it might be a little bit confusing, but they have essentially two folders for you to download. One is a log to log creative look, and the other is a LogC3 to Rec 709 look. Now the LogC3 to Rec 709, this is the creative look with a transform from LogC3 to Rec 709 built into it. This is going to be good for putting into your camera, the GH7, or monitoring on set. You don't really want to use these in DaVinci Resolve because when we set up the color managed workflow, we already set up the transform. And that has this built into the LUT, and we don't want to do it twice, so we're going to use the log to log LUTs. These are just the creative LUTs. And once I'm in here, I'm going to go down to Suburban, which is the LUT that we chose, and I'll double click that, and it's going to apply it to the node. And I'll just turn this on and off so that you can see the difference here. So this is our Rec 709. Looks decent, but then we can apply the creative look, and now this looks like a film. So then from here, you can go on and make all of your adjustments and match the footage and do whatever you need to do to it. But the heavy lifting is done, and we are on our way to having a beautiful looking scene here. Okay, and just like that, we have a quick cut of the scene we shot using the GH7 and ARRI LogC3. Let's take a look.
Hey, we need to talk about Tyler.
What about him?
He's been living here for like a year now. He doesn't contribute, and I'm constantly cleaning up after him.
He's going through a rough patch. You know, it's not easy to find a job these days.
A rough patch? He doesn't even try. He plays video games all day and leaves his stuff everywhere. It's affecting us, Nick.
I get it, Em, but he's my best friend. I'm not just gonna throw him onto the street.
I'm not saying throw him out without a plan, but he needs to know that this can't go on forever. We have our own lives to live. I'll tell you one thing. I am not raising a kid in this house with him around.
Morning, guys.
Morning, man. How'd you sleep?
Like a baby. What's for breakfast?
Oh, whatever you can find, I guess. You know, Tyler, Nick was just telling me that he's been meaning to talk to you about your situation here.
Oh, really? What about it?
Yeah. Em and I were discussing, and we thought it's time you start looking for a job. You know, just get back on your feet.
Totally. No, I mean, I've been looking. It's just jobs do not grow on trees out here.
I have to go to work.
Emily, that was not fair.
No, Nick. What's not fair is me having to tiptoe around my own house because your best friend can't get his act together. I want him gone. Take care of it.
Somebody woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
No, Tyler. Dude, she wants you out.
No.
Yeah, I know. Look, just start applying for jobs, okay? And we'll figure something out.
All right. Oh, also, we ran out of beer last night. I drank the rest of it. You should grab some on your way home.
Well, there's no question that ARRI is not one of, if not the most major player in the cinema and broadcast space. And they set the standard for many of the processes we use at this level. However, for many filmmakers who are early in their career and or still learning, the massive costs required to enter into an ARRI ecosystem sometimes creates a gap in understanding these standards. Now, this gives filmmakers the opportunity to grow into a product that is utilized on productions at the highest level. Now, I personally think schools across the country should consider the GH7 for this reason alone. But let's say you're not a newcomer to the industry. Say you already have plenty of experience working this way. Now that's fine too, because having access to ARRI's Look Library gives you a massive advantage. And when you pair this with the real-time LUT feature on the GH7, you can get amazing, stylized footage straight out of the camera without needing to worry about grading the footage later. You can also consider using the GH7 as a secondary camera to an ARRI. Now the camera system, with a lens and a rig, is far smaller than even an Alexa Mini. When it comes to acquiring the firmware, you will have to pay a licensing fee. Fortunately though, you can purchase the camera with ARRI LogC3 in the box. Alternatively, you can upgrade later with just the purchase of the license, similar to how Vlog-L was handled with previous GH models. But I am super excited about this release, and I want to know what you guys have to say. Let us know in the comments below. I'm Peter with B&H, and I'll see you guys next time.